This is Nornagest of Enthroned, and you're watching Richard Metal Fan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 386 of Richard Middlefan interviews, calling from Zoom, and I'm here with Regis Nornagest Land from the Almighty Enthroned and also the Beast. So, how are you doing today, man? It is great to be able to have you on.
Uh, Likewise, how you doing? Good?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's a lovely afternoon here in good old Georgia in the US of A. How is it? I believe you're in Norway.
Yeah, like minus 16 degrees and a little blizzard at the moment, but all good.
It's all good. It's starting to get a little bit warm here where I'm at, but I heard like next week it's going to drop down the temperature.
Well, I hope I'm not as bad as here for you.
Well, not it's not terrible, but but it's great to be able to have you on here, man. So, kind of like the format of the show is I want to talk about like your musical history and sort of do a rundown of your discography, but take me back to young Nornagest. So, growing up, what were the first bands that got you into metal? What made you want to be a vocalist and also instrumentalist and all that good stuff?
Well, it's it did start when yeah, the killer was going insane every time I saw Kiss and AC/DC on television. I think guess like most of the people were in the scene did start with those same bands, you know, especially back in the days. Then later on, I had my cousin who introduced me to a more extreme form of music. Let me hear his own band, which at the moment, at that time, I didn't really was like coming from that hard rock like to Venom. It was like whoa. So later on, I was like, actually, it's not bad. And then like, it's actually a banger, So, like with Motorhead, Venom, and all those, like it came up. And yeah, vocalist at some point, yeah, it was more like a necessity than anything else with my previous bands. I would jump in because we couldn't find a vocalist. So that's how I became vocalist. And in the end, like with Enthroned, it was for the same thing. Like I didn't want to become after the departure of Sabatan. I didn't want to be the vocalist. The other guys of the band did insist. We did like two auditions maybe for guys. It didn't go so well. And the other guys were like they insisted that I take over the vocals, which I did not want to. But yeah, in the end, I did, and I'm pretty happy with the job in the end. So, yeah, long story short, that's how it happened.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool with the Venom thing because I for a long for a longest time I had no idea you're like the cousin of Kronos and Anton. I thought that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, for me, I see more like my cousins making music, but yeah, like they left their imprint on the metal scene, especially black metal, obviously, especially Conrad.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, yeah, it was a interesting way to grow up with the with them around. Let's say.
yeah. So I was like doing my research. I was digging into it. I believe one of your first bands is not the first band is Heresia. Like, tell me about that because I'm digging deep. Like, nobody ever talks about this stuff.
Well, Erisia. Oh my God, you're going farther. Well, it was we were at high school. We were at school at high school, like just metalheads, like of the class, and one guy from another school we decided like let's make a band, you know. So we had those evil lyrics back then, like you could say like more like gimmick, I would say. It was more band between Creator, Celtic Frost alike. We performed just one show ever, which turned out pretty like to get kicked out of the venue as it was at the school. And they asked the student if they had a band, if they wanted to perform, but they didn't expect that to happen. So actually, we got kicked out while we were playing.
Oh wow.
So after that, I joined another band, and
Yeah,
that's it.
infected.
Oh shit, yeah, yeah, you know it all. Fucking hell, Metal Archive is not. There are some things you don't want people to know.
Yeah, it's crazy how it lists almost everything, like every band members, every bands, and everything. Even some bands like nobody ever talks about.
No, that's crazy. Like even me, like I looked at like, oh shit, that's who I played in that. Oh fuck. Like you almost want to forget some things. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then tell me about like starting up Enthroned because the band formed in 95. So how'd you get to know like everybody?
Actually, the band was formed in '93 under the name Enthroned. But the guys were playing already together since 1986 under the name Morbid Death. Then they changed first time name because the music was a bit different to Blaspherian, and then changed again to Enthroned because different members except for two of them, and it was a different approach, so no use to keep the name. Um, Basically, I met the guys 1 year later after the band was formed at the show. Uh, we just literally met at a concert and we got, typical story. Got drunk together. Oh, what do you do? I play guitar. Like, oh, what is your philosophy about this? Oh, Satanism, blah, blah, blah. Starting to talk about our views upon Satanism. Why? And Cerninos, the drummer, former member, um, asked me if I wanted to come and try out because they were looking for a second guitar player. So I did, and I got the job. So
Nice.
that's how I started with Enthroned.
Nice. And when you joined up with Enthroned, were you like listening to like their first album, Prophecies of Pagan Fire, and be like, I need to do this? Or did you want to like bring like your own style into Enthroned?
No, the thing was like I really liked what they were doing, but they really pushed me to bring my own style into the band. Because when you're new in a band, when you have to compose, you try to fit to what you know what the band is doing. You know, you're not gonna bring like a Morbid Angel riff into a Dark Throne alike band. You know, so I was trying to compose something that would fit, but Cernunnos and Sabatan really told me like, no, just bring your own touch. And but it always already went good together the way I compose and everything. So in the end, the result was towards the Scripture of Satan. So I don't think it was too bad.
Yeah. And then tell me about like your first record with the band, Towards the Skull Throne of Satan. I thought that's a very raw sounding album. So what was sort of that like, being that was like your first record with the band?
Well, it was we were practicing those songs already for a while, and yeah, the tragedy occurred where Cernunnos died, took his own life. It was literally 1 week before the studio sessions. So yeah, the recording was engulfed in that weird atmosphere, as you can imagine. So I had a friend of mine playing the drums on that album. He listened to the rehearsals tapes that we had from the rehearsals, obviously, and recorded the drums in two days. And then we went in and recorded our parts, but it was a very awkward feeling because the death of our friend and war brother was just fresh. So you can really feel into the record. I think, especially for us, we really hear it every time. That heaviness, that feeling. I I don't think the album would have sounded the same without this happening. Anyway,
Yeah.
so it has that uniqueness probably because of that.
And all right. And when the album came out, what was sort of like the touring cycle like? Was that like also like because I know the band did like stuff outside of like Belgium and stuff. Like did you start was that like your first time like touring outside of that and what outside in different countries and stuff?
No, no, no. We already did full two full European tours for the first album, Prophecies of Pagan Fire. Um, and for towards, so we did the two European tours. One with the Dark Funeral, and the other one was like a headlining with. Usurper from Chicago, a
Yeah.
support act. So it was yeah, we had two extensive tours on that for that album.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you start like touring in the USA for the first time, or was it like later on?
Oh, that was later on. That was actually the first time we ever came to the US was like 1 month after 9/11.
Oh shit.
That well, no band wanted to go to the United States then. Like every band canceled. We had normally Marduk was supposed to go to the United States 1 month before our tour when they canceled. And the promoter was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And we're like, "Yeah." So we just went like that was the most secure actually moment to go. Like not that we were really looking for that at that time, but
Yeah.
you see it now. But it was fucked up. Like when we drove through New York City, we passed next to the what was left of World Trade Center. It was still smoking. It was like fucked up.
Yeah. That's a crazy time, man. I feel like America hasn't been the same since then.
No, that was interesting tour, I would say. First time there. Lots of up and downs, of course. Um, and very, very touchy in some parts, like New York and everything, just what happened and everything. So, yeah, we had to face a lot of questioning, like control from Homeland Security, police, and everything. So, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and still talking a little bit about Towards the Skull Throne of Satan, because next year will mark the 30-year anniversary of that album. Is there any chance to do like any celebrations of that? Maybe do like a tour you play it in its entirety?
Well, that's what every band is doing, right? So, no.
Yeah, kind of like fuck that. We're not doing
Yeah,
that.
I know we have a lot of fans and a lot of people or ex-fans that are complaining about that with us. Like, why don't you do like the first album, second albums? Well, first of all, everybody does it, so why would we do the same? And second, like, no, we play what we want to, what we feel like, not what is demanded from us. Like, we're not a custom band. There's a message behind this band. And we are not like for entertaining people. We are there to share something, to deliver something. If we are not 100% behind what we deliver, it's not honest, and I prefer not to do it. The thing is, I still respect, love those songs, but I played those songs for more than 20 years. I'm fed up to play those songs. I want to play something else.
Yeah,
And when I play some of those songs, we play some of them. Like on the next shows, we'll have songs from Prophecies of Penny Fire, even song from the demo, you know. But no, like we're not doing that kind of stuff. Like we did like just to really have peace with those people, and because okay, we want to do it for once. For the 30 years anniversary of the band, we did some dates in Brazil and some two dates in Europe, playing a bit, you know, old albums and later albums. But no, we are people who want to go further and play what we feel like playing, not what is demanded from us.
yeah, fair enough. But then going into the next album, The Apocalypse Manifesto, I love that album. Did you start like contribute to that album more than what you did with Toward the Skull Throne of Satan?
No, actually, it was basically the same 50-50 with the other guitar player. So um, the big difference is like we had a new drummer then who was more into blast beats than anything else. So um, the band took a direction that was more straightforward and yeah, brutal, if I can say it that way. Different kind of brutality. Um, so it had that like, kind of a more like a that's why the album's called like apocalyptic approach, biblical apocalyptic approach. We did that, but to me that was a good attempt, but for the time, but not something I would do again. Like I like to do things differently every time, if I can say it that way. Like another page from the same book, if I can say it. So
Yeah.
it. Yeah, a different experience again.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, different, trying different things. New studio, new drummer, new this, and I think after later on we found more on marks, if I
Yeah.
can say that.
Yeah, and then of course with the Apocalypse Manifesto, you of course like worked with the great Peter Tagrin and of course his brother, their Tommy, also producing the album. So what was that like working with them?
Well, it was very interesting. It was a totally different way to approach production as a recording than previously. Um, First of all, recording in that place in Sweden, like it was in the middle of nowhere, in the winter, minus 34 degrees, still remember that. Uh, so we were completely isolated there. So no entertainment whatsoever, just focusing on the album. And yeah, it was really interesting to work with Peter and with Tommy as well. Peter had a different approach a bit, uh, like more taking a lot of breaks to smoke in a corner. Tommy was really like, okay, from the moment you start, we finish when your fingers are bleeding. So it was like sometimes we were like, fuck, we hope that Peter comes today.
Yeah, because I know that place that was recorded at the Abyss Studios, which I know a lot of bands record there. Like like there needs to be like a documentary about that place because a lot of great albums were made there.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, it's an older fishing factory actually that
Wow.
they brought back and transformed into studio. Like there's actually three recording studios in that building, and yeah, it was interesting. Like the only fucking moment we had to relax to one day off, I thought. So in the middle of the night, like I just wake up, almost shit my pants because I woke up with Peter's face that close from mine.
Oh
And you
wow.
the guys, like, hey man, want to come in the studio and drink with us? Like, oh fuck, yeah.
Oh my God.
Got up like, wait a minute, we're in Sweden. The beer is like 2.3% or 3% alcohol. How am I gonna get drunk with that? I'm just gonna get there anyhow. And yeah, the Fredrik from Meshuggah was there with homemade vodka. I was like, oh fuck. So that was the day off. So after we had to record, the day after record with that hangover and everything. But that was at the studio for you.
Yeah. That's great. And then next up we get to Armored Bestial Hell. Love that. Love that album. So tell me about that. What was that kind of like going from Apocalypse Manifesto to Armored Bestial Hell?
That's the album of the frustration. um, I still have some kind of affection for that album in a way, weird way. But that was the darkest period of the band at that time. Um, like everybody wanted to kill everyone. Like we didn't really like each other anymore in that band. Um, the stress was so getting intense due to the record label that there was a very toxic atmosphere between the band members. So we just basically went in the studio. The guitar player Nebiros left just before the recording, so we had Nerat, the guitar player that would stay till recently in the band, joined. Just knew the song himself, learned the song quickly to for the studio. So for him it was a bit awkward. The new guy in the band, and there was a tension all around. Had to kind of exteriorize that in one way or another. Sabaton came to the studio without working on vocals at all. He had not
Wow.
one single line of vocals placed, rehearsed, or anything. Simply because, not because he was not doing a good job, but because he was so fed up that he didn't see the point anymore. So that album was recorded in that atmosphere. So I don't know if you can imagine the heaviness that it was. So the album is kind of that concentration of frustration, aggression in a very, very chaotic way. So things went a bit off after that album, and then we recentered the band on more human level after that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then I know no like then we go into to literally at the next year 2002 with Carnage in Worlds Beyond. Ron, a really quick turnaround. Did you start writing for that right after Armored Bestial Hill?
Yeah, there were some songs that were actually um, written uh, during Amel Bisiahel, but that didn't came out on that album because they demanded more attention, obviously. Um, I even thought some of those songs I was gonna throw them away at some point or keep them for another project. But after we had our um, get our shit back together, let's put it that way, and got the new drummer, Alsvit, things went back on track. So uh, the how can I say the magic was there. So there are a few songs like we wrote them and composed them in one rehearsal, like Radiance of Mordacity. I remember that song. We composed it in one rehearsal. And I'm talking lyrics, placing the lyrics and music. That was insane. So yeah, I'd say that that album was like the first rebirth of the band. Let's say.
Yeah. And I also love that you also did a cover of Morbid Death's Diabolic Force. So what made you guys decide to cover that song in particular?
Well, we always thought like in our circle of friends that um, that song was a waste to not be more known than it is. So we decided to just simply re-record it. So there was that song and another song, Satan Never Sleeps, as well, that was on that mini album, Regis Satanas, that we did at some point. So those two songs, we always thought like those two songs should be more done the proper way and everything. So that's why we recorded them. A bit of a tribute to Sir Ninus as well.
Yeah. And I know like the album artwork is great. I know like you and Nura Damon also handled like the cover art and stuff. So and I know you also do also like graphic design and stuff. So how is there like a similar like process into like making like visual art versus like making music?
Well, it's very similar. And when you work in tandem with both and together, it's fantastic because you don't have to explain to another artist your vision. You have the vision. You make it. You try to make it come to life. So that artwork for Carnage was the first actual professional professional artwork me and Nerat actually did after we got out of high school, graphic school. So we worked together on that artwork. So obviously Photoshop, so it was the first thing we ever did. But we put together our ideas, how we saw that lyrical concept of Carnage, and we had two different views. He had more like that abstract view of things, and me really concrete things. So we tried to merge those two visions in one artwork, which was Carnage and was Beyond. So yeah, I redid it recently for the re-release by hand because I think it would deserve a better approach. Let's say.
Yeah. And then still in the year 2002, you also did your other band, The Beast. You did the Fixed by the Devil EP. So how'd the idea come to be to start up a second band?
Well, the Beast did start years before that. It was just a project that me and maybe Ross, the previous guitar player of Enthroned, had. Like, and we never really planned to release something. It was just like exultatory. Like we were doing things more ritualistically, a way to channel some things as well. And eventually we decided to record and release some things just because people insisted they wanted to have that on support because some of our friends or some people just witness a rehearsal or something. So like, why not? So we just recorded that.
Yeah.
And from there on, I kept on for a few years, The Beast, and I recorded a few things. But now it's late to rest, definitely. So, but that was a good experience,
Yeah.
especially the
Yeah.
last.
Yeah. And I know going into 2003, you started up briefly with Plague. Plague, you did that Visions of the Twilight demo from 2003. So tell me about that.
Um, yeah, Plague was actually a side project from the guys from uh, Nat, Nachtwind, and they wanted a vocalist. And usual thing, we were one day at the pub having a drink, and they asked if I wanted to do it, and wanted to have a bit more detail about what was the concept of that band. And they were like, pure nihilism and the void, about the primordial void. And I think, so, okay, let's write some lyrics and I will join you for that release. And it was always intended to be just for one EP, nothing more. So that's mainly the reason why I accepted to join. uh, Matter of time as well.
Yeah.
And there's not much you can express about the void. So like four songs seemed like a perfect fit to me. It made complete sense. So yeah. So I went to their place, recorded that with a like the oldest, shittiest microphone we could find to get that early 90s vibe. And there you had it. Yeah, that recording. And it sounds exactly like that, like if it was recording in 89, 90. So, yeah, pretty satisfied with that one.
Yeah. Then going back into Enthroned, next album, Zes Hereticum. Probably
That's
butchered
correct.
that. I think that's another great album. Also kind of a very underrated album in my opinion. So what was that whole writing and recording process for that?
Well, it was a totally the continuation of Carnage in Worlds Beyond. Same lineup, same everything. Um, Basically, we during those that period for those two albums, we never stopped composing. Uh, the only moment we did not compose it when we were on tour. So basically, those two albums were written all together, if you can say it that way. So, see it that way. So you could have made a like a double album actually of those two, literally. So after Carnage, we did a European tour, and then a South American tour. Yeah, and then in between, we were already still composing. Already had some pre-prod recorded when we were doing the South American tour for Carnage.
Yeah.
So basically, it's exactly the same process that went through Carnage and Worlds Beyond.
Like yeah, and like every song on that album is violent. Like going to Blacker than Black, Seven Plagues, Seven Wraths, like Night Stalker. Every song is like an ass beater from beginning to end.
Yeah, well, we were in shape. We were like we had the motivation. Like the band was literally renewed back then. As I said, like after Armored Hell, like it was a slow death. Like I would say after Apocalypse Manifesto, to me, I could see really clearly the band was kind of dying. Uh, so and when we had that rebirth, uh, as much as a band and musically, then we were kind of unstoppable. So yeah.
Right. And then moving on to Tetracarcist. Love that album. Of course, first album with you taking over lead vocals. So what was that like, and how was that kind of like different from like the previous albums, being this was like your first record now stepping up as the lead singer?
Well, of course that That's a big change. It's never easy when you change vocalist. So one of the reasons why I really didn't want the job, because people are gonna blame the new vocalist. So no. The thing was, like, Sabaton wanted to do something else, and it was becoming painfully obvious, as he wanted to incorporate some elements in Enthroned that were absolutely not fitting. So the story was that I was going to leave the band. For me, I wanted to leave the band, but talking with the other guys, everybody wanted to leave the band because they thought like, yeah, the original vocalist, you know, if we kick him out, it's not right. But in the meantime, if everybody wants to leave, yeah. So we wanted to keep the spirit of the band intact. And we talked to Sabatan and we said, like, listen, that's not going to work out like that. We cannot use elements that are more keen to bands like Stratovarius, Gamma Ray, and those can in Enthroned. That would not make any sense to have that power metal influence in Enthroned. So yeah, he preferred to go and make his own band on the side like that, which he did. Distant Warning back then, and yeah,
Yeah.
uh, some of the songs of Titagassis were already written. Uh, he tried to do some vocal lines on that and everything as well before that happened. So when the other guys insisted that I took over the vocals, well, I tried, and Titagassis came to life. Like the good point for me was that I could write the lyrics that meant more to me, and actually to the guys in the band as well. So the lyrics were more in tune with what everybody in the band thought were could relate to, and being able to vocalize those lyrics was better because I could give them the proper emotion rather than somebody else or missing the lyrics of somebody else. So there's a very different vibe on that album and from that album on. So that would be literally like the second era of Enthroned that started then,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah, and in terms of like being like that tour, like now with you as the lead vocalist, like were you like listening to like the previous albums, like being like, okay, I want to try to do like what Lord Sabaton had done, or did you want to try to like add like your own little spin to the old songs when playing those
No,
songs
no,
live?
I totally get my own thing. So I still had to get used to find my voice, to be honest. But didn't want to be a Savatan 2 copy Savatan. No, because first of all, I would not be able to be honest. It's not my type of voice. And he had more that sometimes that Tom Araya kind of thing, like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And no, especially back then I was smoking like a chimney and I would not have been able to do that. So, and it was not me either. So I wanted to, while, okay, I take the job, but I will do my thing. So people like it, good. People don't care. The principle was to be faithful to what we wanted to do, and that's it.
Yeah, and I know you also played guitar and you also play bass. Like with and it's now you're also like also being the lead singer. So with playing like these different like instruments, do you find like you're able to express like different sides of you creatively?
Yeah, totally. It was like going in every direction. So like the visuals, the vocals, the guitars. So it was like getting, yeah, that was a lot of work, especially doing the lead guitar and vocals live. But well, we managed, and yeah, it was interesting for the time.
Yeah. Then kind of going into 2009, you also started up Unlocked. I'm always curious about that band because I can't really find any info about him.
Yeah, Unlocked started like just a jam. between friends. Uh, we had Benny from Prostitute Disfigurement, which was our roadie and sound guy on the tour, and his brother played as well in Shining, and sorry, man, forgot. Was the guitar tech on a tour, and on that tour we had as well Shining playing, and so Peter, guitar player of Shining, and us gathered drinking and said like, let's play some things. Like we have that kind of idea to make music of like want to join, like oh yeah, of course I want to join, like we before even hearing what it was. So actually, yeah, I ended up in the studio recording the vocals for the demo, and it was something, a new experience, because it was like totally like a mix of brutal death metal and US brutal death metal, what I see like that. So that was not my comfort zone. So I was putting like a fish out of the tank there. So I had to improvise. So I gave another touch to that, like bringing a bit a different approach to the thing.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with what I did. We did back then, but it's nah, that's not my style. To be honest, it's not was not my style. So I prefer to read. I redraw from there.
Yeah, and just
Like
focus on Enthroned.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now they released the Unlocked released an album with another vocalist. So and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Then kind of going into the next Enthroned album in 2010, you did Pentagrammaton. So tell me about that. Also, first album on the Regain Records. So what was that like working with them?
Yeah, that was a as well a specific thing. Like that album was approached in a different way. Like I wrote all the lyrics for the album before one single note of the music was composed. The idea was to have another approach on composition for that album and to translate each sentence of each lyrics into music, which took a while. Um, so we came to a point where we were really happy with the result. This is why this album sounds very, I would say, experimental or weird sometimes. But we were conscious of that when we recorded the album, and and we were thinking, saying like, it's our own kind of weirdness for this. For this, it's like how the, let's say, the entities, the egregores and entities from the other side would speak through us. It was literally translation of those lyrics into music. Like if even though we found a riff that was really killer, but it didn't make sense or translate that emotion of that sentence at that very time, specific moment, we would not use it. So it was like a very weird process of composition, very complex, very demanding, and I'm happy we did that. That album, I really like that album, but it was a one-time only experience. So, but yeah, and working with Regain was really, really cool. Really, we were really happy with them until bad luck. Their label went bankrupt.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
that was that like a hard time for the band at that moment?
Not really, but it was a big shock because nobody expected that from Regain. Because we were in contact, well, we are still in contact with a lot of bands that were on that label back at the time. Like, we were still talking now and then with Morgan from Marduk and Iron Man of Dark Funeral, etc. And we were all on Regain, and like, what the fuck? From one day to the other, the
Yeah.
label just vanished.
Yeah,
So
it's
like,
crazy fucked
fuck.
up shit.
So yeah, it was a bit like okay, it's a bit like when you have to look for a new job. Like you have to go again, like through the proposals of labels and make it clear, but not too clear that you're looking for something else and blah blah blah. So yeah. that part was a bit annoying, but in the end, yeah. So we signed her with another label after that.
Yeah.
And
Agonia
then,
Records. You did the next album, Obsidium. Tell me about that.
well, with Obsidian, it was like I think it's an album that is way more fluid, way more direct, um, and it was the start of another kick, uh, another big kick in the ass, I would say, in the good sense of the word. Uh, I don't know if you see what I mean. Like like yeah, with Sarcastic and Tetragrammaton, we had that period, and then at some point you have that those things in life that happen, like wow, push you way forward. And with that album, it was really that. Like Obsidian remained till this day one of my favorite top three albums of Enthroned, I would say.
Y- Yeah, I put up there with like one of the best like especially in like the modern era of Enthroned.
That I really really love that album. The essence in it, the feeling, everything. I would not so. It's rare when you can say that you're really satisfied with an album, and that one I would not change one thing. So really happy with that album in every aspect.
Yeah. And then moving on to Sovereigns, I like that album. So what was that like following up Obsidian?
Um, Pretty much the same way again. But the difference is it went super fast. The composition of that album was flash. Like we had I don't know what happened. Basically, the album was composed and recorded in 1 month, maybe two time altogether. Um, we were really inspired. At some point, we didn't even go home. um, the bass player back then, Forgot, and Nirab Damon had the Blackout studio. It was their own recording studio. And I remember I was going to work, and I was not even sometimes going home. I would just going from work to the studio, some sleeping there, and going to work, and then back to the studio just to record because we were so fucking inspired. At some point, like we were just sleeping, and I remember like forgot waking up in the middle of the night and like, dude, I have an idea. Let's wake up everyone. Like, whoa, you know, 3 in the morning, you're fucked. You know, everybody in the studio uh, tried this idea and we were like, what the fuck? So we came up with that song, Edge of Agony.
Yeah, hell of
Uh,
a song.
and fucking hell, like it was, yeah, I don't know, like literally Satan was speaking through our mouth and fingers on that period. It was insane. It was just insane.
Yeah. And then flash forward to 2019, the previous Enthroned album, Cold Black Suns. Love that album. First album on Season of Mist records. So what was sort of like the whole reason for like a 5 year gap between Sovereigns and Cold Black Suns?
Well, um, after that explosion of inspiration and everything, it's not that we were not inspired, but it's like we had to pay the price for that. We had a lot of personal issues, not between us, but at home or something like that. So I'm not gonna enter the detail because it's private life.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of each one of us had to put their life back in order, like divorces and things like that. So that's basically what happened. So we had a life happened. So um, we took a while, like a hiatus, to put things back in order, and then we got back together. And actually, we thought like that's a good thing. Life is selective. You know, so we're gonna use those experience experience for this album, and we put it all that frustration, energy, and visualization in that album. We knew from day one that Cold Black Sun would be a one standoff piece album that we would not do an album like that again after or before, like So it was just from the beginning we knew it was going to be a more like maybe avant-garde album or like a more unique piece in our discography, and I think we pretty much succeeded there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course with Cold Black Suns you toured for a little bit and then of course COVID happened. So during that time was it really hard? Because I know like that really kind of like fucked up the whole music industry.
It was a real nightmare. Like everything collapsed, everything, and it's still not back on its feet since ever since. So we were, I think, in Europe the last band to tour before the lockdown. Uh, we did the tour for Cold Sun in end of January 2020 with Shamash from Switzerland and Caronte from Italy. Surprisingly enough, because COVID was already around, of course, but it was not locked down yet. We had that tour was really successful, surprisingly enough. Uh, and in February, Europe went in complete lockdown. So we, yeah, we were kind of lucky in the thing there. So after that, like, yeah, I guess it was the same in US. You know, couldn't get out of your home except if it's absolutely necessary with masks and even controlled by the police and the health department, etc., etc. For it was a big big thing going on for over a year and a half. So yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. But during that time, did you start writing and eventually like or was that like later on with the latest album, Ashbon?
no, I started we started to write music, of course. Um, but once again, life happened. So I decided to move to another country. The guitar player decided to move to another country. And in the end, there was just the bass player left in Belgium. So we were all in different countries because
Yeah.
not that we couldn't see each other. It had nothing to do with that. Like I met
Yeah.
my wife. I moved here to Norway.
Yeah.
But it was getting harder to rehearse.
Yeah.
But we managed somehow to meet up and compose. But me and Mentor, the drummer, like we were never really happy with what came out. Uh, I know Nirat wanted to was a bit pushing for making another called Black Sun or something like that. Uh, that's how it sounded like when he came with the new songs, at least. And that's not what we wanted to do. You always said like Cole Black Sun is a one standoff there, and that's there was something off every time. So we composed enough material basically for two full-length albums during that period, but we were not happy with it, the result. Then Nirat left because he was tired of black metal, if I would say it like that. Um, then bass player as well. We preferred to go separate ways because he was more busy with his side project or main band for him, I guess. So in the end, it was just me and Mentor left.
Yeah. And then
Um, then
you're saying,
talked about recruiting T Chaos for the band.
yeah. But of course, talking with about Ashbon, it's been out since last December. So how was like the whole writing and recording process for it?
Well, when T Chaos joined, uh, funny enough, he wanted to have all the lyrics to get inspired by those, and it was a very intense process. We were really immersed into that philosophy. Um, it's a philosophy that we breathe on a daily basis in our private life, but here it's even more reinforced. Like what I said before, when Sabaton left, the band was all on the same page with the lyrics. Here it went even more intense because we really literally have the same letter on the same of the same word on the same page. So the processes of writing was really, and we didn't want to really 100% satisfied. So they wrote both of them, Mintor and Kikos, most of the music this time. I sent some of my ideas, recorded some guitars, and sent them to see what they thought about it. Made a whole fucking thing of it with each songs. And yeah, we just was sending each other some of those demos with me with the vocals, etc. But that were more like guidelines for the final result. Like it's when we actually gathered for the recording that the album really took its shape and its form. Like when we were the three of us in the same room and creating, it was another feeling. That was like the magic in itself. And I could say that I did my best vocal performance, to be honest, without getting cocky. I could say that my best vocal performance, like just like that energy that was there, that essence was unbelievable. And
Yeah.
it's there for ever since.
Yeah.
So
And musically, did you want to continue in the same vein as Cold Black Suns, or with Ashbon, you wanted to try something different that Enthroned hasn't done before?
as I said, like Callback Sun was supposed to be a one stand-up album, so we knew Ash Spawn was going to be very different, and we had a few meetings about that. Actually, like I, they were asking me, "Are you sure?" Because that's going to be very different. Like I said, absolutely. Um, what I hear there, it's going still going to be enthroned, but it needs that, and that's my whole body, my whole mind, my whole being feels with those songs that it's the good way to go for me and for us. So yeah, here we are, and never been so pleased
Yeah.
with the.
Yeah. And of course, like the album has been out now for a little while. So how has like the overall like reception and feedback been for Ashbon?
Actually pretty good. I was surprised. I expected more negative reactions. To be honest, you always have the funny Muppets, like on the YouTube and everything. Oh, that sucks. Of course, you're gonna have those people. You know, like but I was surprised about the amount of positive feedback we got. It was insane. It was just insane. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but mostly, I'm happy that the other guys of the band are happy with the album. and and yeah, we have a good drive now. Like, so I'm really, really, really happy.
Yeah. And of course, this is also, like you mentioned, also first album with T Chaos in the band. So did he maybe like bring something like new to Enthroned that y'all didn't have previously?
Oh yes, he's a intensity. He's a very intense person, very intelligent, very uh, intense in every way, I would say. But and you can feel that in his guitar picking. And I wanted to have him in the band for years. Tried to recruit him for years, could never manage to. And I'm happy I finally managed to get him
Yeah. The
on board.
stars aligned.
Fucking hell, about time, god damn it. So yeah, no, it definitely brought more than nah, big part of the album is thanks to him. So
Nice. And of course, like Enthroned is sort of like a big name, and it's also veterans of black metal. Like, how do you feel like black metal has evolved like during the years? Because I know you came up with like, of course, like the Emperors and the Mayhems and all that stuff.
uh, well, I was there from you know there back in the days, that movement, that scene came the closest to what I could not identify as, but I found a lot of myself into it. These days, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing here. Like the scene has its good sides, bad sides, but it's more turning around entertainment, a carnival, and which costume you're gonna put on stage to the next show. But first album, second album, are you gonna play in its entirety with the original lineup or not? It became like a way to attract people of publicity entertainment that I don't align with. And if it's not that, it's fucking drama queens online or like in at concerts. You know, I respect my fans. You have a lot of them that are fucking amazing people. But when you see the state of the scene in general, it's like a fucking episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't really feel so much that I want to be a part of that shit anymore. The real scene black metal, like the underground, yes. Like I will never turn my back to the underground scene. But when I see how it goes online nowadays, it's oh man, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then kind of like the last question I want to talk about is like coming from Belgium. I'm also a little bit unfamiliar with like the Belgian metal scene apart from of like Enthroned, Ancient Rites, and of course Aborted. How would you feel like the state of like the scene in or the metal scene in Belgium has evolved over the years?
Well, it's a small country, let's be honest. Especially for an American. Belgium looks like a maybe New York City, even though even then, but the scene is a fucking huge there. Like from the underground point of view, you have some fucking amazing bands like black death metal band Possession, for example. They are fucking amazing. Like
I
you
need
have
to
to
check
check them
them
out.
out.
Possession. Remember that.
Noted.
The Yeah, there's some really good black metal bands like Paragon Impure. That was absolutely fucking amazing. So you had those bands and Emptiness as well. Emptiness is a more like experimental, but a Black Death, like with some like offshore albums now and then, but worth checking out as well. So you have all those bands which have their own aura and everything. One band that stands out as well is Amen Ra, that you really should check them out.
Amin Ra.
Some call them post black metal or whatever. I would not go there. I think they have their own style. Um, and they are really fucking unbelievable. So I would really, really recommend people who don't know them to check them out.
Nice. And so kind of also like in the end to wrap things up, what's next for Throne? Of course, like the album's been out since this last December. It's just anything else with the band you also like to plug in terms of like tours and stuff. And is there a chance you can please bring Throne back to the States? We're waiting for you.
Well, we have a few shows planned for this year, like Europe, of course, and working on some dates maybe in Mexico and stuff. Problem with the United States, we tried again. It's increasingly difficult, and if he would come, we would have to pay from our own pocket and not a little bit just to play. Um, and I'm talking about amount of money that would put me and my family in the shit. So no.
Oh
So
shit.
it's not that we don't want to, but let's say like just for the visa, the new policies of that administration that rules your country at the moment, uh, it's a pain in the ass. It's cost an arm and a leg.
Oh
So
fuck.
even I'm gonna be blunt. Even if we would be paid about $5,000 a show, we would be we would lose money. So that's not gonna be for now. Like, unfortunately, except if we have somebody who would be really rich and will pay for us to, or bands like us to be there, uh, and take care of everything. That's not gonna be until probably you have another administration, and that's nothing to do with my political ideas because I don't have any or whatever. But let's be honest, what's at the White House at the moment is not really helping. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But it's great to be able to have you on, man. Thanks for coming on. I'm so glad to finally have Enthroned on my show. It's just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching this to close us out.
well, I would say thank you for first for the interview. Thank you to the American fans still for your support because we received tremendous amount of message from the US and support from America. And I know it's not easy for you guys at the moment there. Uh, we wish we could come back, even trying Maryland Death Fest if possible.
Yeah, I could see you guys play that.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying really hard, but it's getting increasingly hard, man.
Yeah.
Like it's a nightmare. It has never been so hard to enter the US. It's like easier to go to Russia almost than to go to the US at the moment.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. It's
Wow.
easier, which is fucked up when you think about it. But well, we hope we will be able to come back soon. And for those who didn't check it out yet, check out our last album.
Awesome. So everybody, Nornagest from Enthroned. We'll see you next time.